Hi, I'm Philip Boole. I'm the game director for Dawn of War 3.
So, Phil, talk about what you're showing here with Dawn of War 3.
What we've been showing is a first gameplay demo. Really excited to be showing this. We've taken a 45-minute campaign mission and condensed it down to what we're calling a football highlight reel. So a really playable, fun sequence of really awesome battles where you're playing the Space Marines, driving into Eldar forces, and just ruining their day.
So can you talk about what you guys learned from Dawn of War and Dawn of War 2, as well as community feedback that you're improving and making a reality in Dawn of War 3?
Yeah, of course. The community is a huge part of what makes Dawn of War Dawn of War. You know, there's still people playing the original Dawn of War, playing Dawn of War 2, and that is so gratifying as someone who worked on those projects. So when we set out to create Dawn of War 3, we definitely took a long, hard look at what the community sentiment had been, what we thought worked and didn't work in the previous products, and what we wanted to bring forward. From Dawn of War 1, we're bringing forward the large battles, making them even bigger than Dawn of War 1 did. We're bringing back base building from Dawn of War 1, and just that really fun, over-the-top gameplay. From Dawn of War 2, what we're focusing on is the heroes. So Dawn of War 2 did a lot with really interesting hero characters with fun abilities, and that we're bringing forward in the form of our elites, who form the core of that large army that you're using in the battlefield.
So RTS is dominated in the 90s in the PC space, but now they've kind of morphed into MOBAs, and yours is one of the few newer RTSs I've actually seen come out in a long time, aside from some other big ones.
Yeah, you know, the rise of MOBAs is great as far as we're concerned. You know, I liked playing them. They enlarged the strategy space. It's nothing but a good story for strategy game makers. We're not making a MOBA. We're making a more traditional RTS, where with those large armies, all that fun. We have learned some things from the MOBA space and from our work on Dawn of War 2 with heroes, is to make those elite heroes I was talking about, make them as awesome and as fun as possible, and also make them an expression of your playstyle. So you can choose elites that really skew your army to be more a turtling army, or more an aggressive army, or have more scouting capabilities. And all that comes in with the elite choice.
Are you able to play this game the way you want to? If you wanted to play a Space Marine army with all Terminators, would that be a viable option?
Well, Terminators are an elite unit. We showed the Assault Terminators, so there are some limits to that. But you can choose elites that work best in harmony with one another and don't require as much work from line units. You can choose other elites that work best when you surround them with line units. There'll be a lot of different options there. You know, the way I like to play is to use the line units as fodder, to sort of group them together, give them an attack move order, send them to tie up the enemy, and then use my elites to deliver the majority of my damage. But my core designers are pretty brilliant, and there's enough depth there that you can choose to focus on the line units if you want, and use the elites in different ways.
There are a lot of different types of units. Is it like a rock, paper, scissor mechanic when you're fighting an enemy team?
Yes, there's a variety of what we call rock, paper, scissor mechanics, and that just means there are ways to counter different units with different attacks. There's, you know, in the demo we show an Eldar tank shows up, and it's a skimmer tank, so it floats across the battlefield, and Devastators with las cannons are especially good at dealing with that type of unit, so I deployed some to deal with that.
So talk about the story in Dawn of War 3. What will we be experiencing narratively throughout the game?
Sure. So we'll be going into a lot more detail later in the campaign, but what we're telling is a story told from all three perspectives. You'll be starting playing a Space Marine mission, then switch to an Orc mission, then switch to an Eldar mission, then back to a Space Marine mission. So we'll get to see all kinds of perspectives. The high level is that there's this mysterious planet called Acheron that's appeared. It's said to be home to a mythical weapon, and all three races are running to get at it. When they get it, things go a little sideways. There's a darker power that reveals itself, but I'll let you play the game when it comes out to find that out.
So it's got to be challenging making a 40K game because there are so many factions of armies, and someone's going to be disappointed. So why did you pick Space Marines, Orcs, and Eldar over the other factions in the game, or in 40K?
We picked those because they allowed us to tell the story we wanted to tell. There were three really contrasting points of view. All three of them had really different takes on the story we were telling, and so putting them together created that interesting narrative opportunity. Also, from a gameplay perspective, they provide three really different ways to play the game, lots of different flavor, lots of different potential for mechanics. So they together created the game we wanted to deliver to the fans.
Is there a certain faction in the game you like to play as well as at the tabletop game?
So I'm a Space Marines player from long. I've got a tabletop Blood Ravens army that I've been painting since I was working on Dawn of War 2. So they're personal favorites of mine, but really the teams put so much love into all the races that there are times when I'm like, oh God, I really want to get into Orcs and I want to get into Eldar. They really all offer great gameplay opportunities, but that sort of strike hard from above, really hardcore Space Knight vibe from the Space Marines is, what appeals to me. It's what I fell in love with to begin with when I got into 40K. So
now, what chapter are we following the Space Marines to in the campaign? It looks like Blood Angels because they're all red.
They're actually Blood Ravens, which is the chapter that was introduced in the original Dawn of War and also featured in Dawn of War 2. They're sort of our signature chapter. And that is part of a great relationship with Games Workshop is we've together developed this chapter that's unique to Dawn of War, but is part of the larger 40K IP.
And when does Dawn of War 3 come out?
We'll get into more details later in the campaign, but we release next year.